belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. We are sisters, brothers, children in one family of God. We are sisters, brothers, children in one family of God. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle. All of us belong, each and every one. All of us belong in this sacred circle.
Welcome to Homecoming, where we gather together, each of us with God, and all of us together in spiritual family. And a very, very special welcome to you, my wonderful dear sister, Elizabeth Callahan, Executive Director of Urantia University, and working partner on many, many projects. Delightful to be with you here again this morning, Elizabeth.
I'm with you.
So let's take a moment, as we do every week. We're going to quiet down and worship and move our awareness to that really central interior inner place where God has taken up residence inside each one of us, and where God is from that place pouring God's love into us, completely surrounding us in this divine affection. Let's take a few moments to rest in God with love. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Jesus, our Master, our great friend, our eldest brother, and thank you, Mother Spirit, for all of your sustenance on so many levels, and thank you, Mother Supreme, the summation, the expression of who we are together as this evolving and cosmic spiritual family. What a gift, so many gifts you've given us. We ask for your presence, your inspiration as we come together in community to share and inspire each other. So thank you again to all of us for joining in and being here today in Homecoming, where our theme is the spiritual parent-child relationship, the first and great foundational truth of the gospel that Jesus shared with us, and that the revelation, the fifth epical revelation, expands upon so dramatically. So I'm going to start off with a passage from Jesus, from the section on the lesson on self-mastery. And here he's at an evening conference with his apostles, teaching them. And we're going to return to this short passage probably repeatedly as we go forward, because it's sort of foundational. Jesus says, forget not. Forget not. It is your personal faith in the exceedingly great and precious promises of God that ensures your becoming partakers of the divine nature. I'll read it again because it's so significant. Forget not, it is your personal faith in the exceedingly great and precious promises of God that ensures your becoming partakers of the divine nature. So, Jesus is talking to us about becoming like God and beginning to embody God's nature, right? And beginning this eternal journey of moving toward becoming like God, aspiring to it. But he talks about our faith in these exceedingly great and precious promises. So, what is he referring to? Last week, in last week's homecoming, our first gathering, we took a look generally at the nature of symbolism and a systemic symbolic arrangement, and a culture that can grow out of that symbolism. Uh, what the revelators really conveyed to us as a symbolic spiritual culture. And the term that for me best encompasses that and allows us to hold it in our minds conceptually and in our hearts and souls is a way of life in the family of God, the family way, a way of life in spiritual family relationships. And within that experience, that overall experience, there are these different central elements to it, right? These 7 core truths or experiences that we can have in spiritual family. In a sense, they are the foundational spiritual gifts, the exceedingly great and precious promises that God has made to us. And they are the spiritual parent-child relationship, the spiritual sister-brother relationships we can have with each other progressively in this life and into eternity. The indwelling spirit, the intimacy of the relationship we have with God, the will of God, its directionality, its sense of coherence and order. Love, which is central to all of our relationships spiritually. We're going to be talking about each of these in great depth. Sixth, eternal life as the context within which all of these experiences are unfolding. They're never ending. They're incredibly progressive for us. This whole way of life, we're just beginning it embryonically. It's an eternal adventure of growth into that set of relationships. And then the last great truth, which is faith, which is what we do, as Jesus said, forget not, it's your personal faith in these other 6 great realities that ensures you're engaging with them and beginning to live them out, that begins us and sets us on this journey of becoming like God, partaking in God's nature. So we looked at that last week. And my sense is that these are the exceedingly great and precious promises that Jesus was saying we should forget not to mobilize our faith around. And so today what we're going to do is go a little deeper into the very first of these great truths, the spiritual parent-child relationship that each of us can have with God. And to me, it is in a sense, it's the first and foundational reality that God established. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start back at the beginning of everything, right? And the Bible, the way the Bible puts it is that God's first act of will was to create light, which is an interesting metaphor. Let there be light, right? And I think the revelators in this 5th revelation that they've just given us here 100 years ago, they describe it a little differently, what happened at the beginning of everything, right? What they describe is there was this state of being, this existence. And this was even before, they say, before that existence had manifested as God, as a person, that preliminary to that, there was simply this being that had always existed. It is hard to wrap our minds around it, but this being wasn't even a person, right? This being has always existed, but in that state had existed before anything had happened. Nothing had happened, right? This being had never done anything. This being just was. just been there forever, existing. And then at this theoretical point in time of the creation, this being that they describe as the I am, that's the term they give to it, the I am decided to act, right? To do something. And really to do something that is astonishingly monumental. So this I am, in one singular initial act, did three things all at once, all wrapped up in this singular action, decision and action that the I am engaged in. In one act, the I am became a person and became a personal God. Until then, God didn't exist. It was just the I am. Then the I am became a person and a God, and that God was a creator person. So the I am became the creator person of an entirely new additional personal being, a created person in its essential nature. God became creator and created being. And then this now newly personal creator God, right, which is new, moved into a living relationship with this second created person that the creator God had made. We have to try and understand this. It was a radical development. Nothing like this had ever happened before. It was unprecedented, right? But God wasn't finished. Now that God existed as creator and created being. So what happened then, of course, is these two beings now did something equally radical to this first act, where God became creator, created, and established relationship between two personal beings. Now this personal God, this creator father, and this created person, this eternal child, together they created a third and brand new person. And then both of them entered into a parental relationship with this new third spiritual child. So this was even more unprecedented. You have to realize nothing like this had ever happened before. In fact, up to that point, actually nothing had happened before. This was the first happening. And so now, you'll forgive me, I get kind of excited about this. It's thrilling and astonishing what happened at the beginning of creation. So now this universal creator father, and together with this created eternal now mother son, right? Because they're co-parents together with their co-created infinite spirit child, creator, created, and co-created beings. They've set the stage and they've established this divine pattern subsequently for everything that comes afterwards. So they've established the pattern for every single one of the endless quadrillions of persons that will come into existence, and all of the relationships in the entirety of creation. They've established what the whole thing is about. And that is just the first part of this incredible story of the universes and the creation and the destiny and the evolution of where we're going all together. This is just the beginning of it, but it's stupendous, and it's spiritually it's astonishing. So let's back up a little bit and pause and breathe and sort of ask this question. Um, what does all this have to do with us, with you and in me? Um, well, I mean, in a sense, this creator, this Father creator, has offered each one of us this same opportunity. He's made each of us, and he is inviting us into a direct and living relationship with him. And this is immediate. There's no intermediaries. There's nothing in between. We have direct, intimate relationship with the Creator. And also the other two persons of the Trinity are participating parentally with us as well, because Jesus is the presence of the Father and the Son, and our Mother Spirit here in our local part of the cosmos is representing the infinite Spirit. And so in a sense, they're also offering to parent us. In a sense, it's not in a sense, in reality, they're offering to raise us up in their universe home in the early stage of our maturation as God's child, right? As what they call Morancha children in the local universe. So we have both the Father and the Eternal Mother, Son, and the Infinite Spirit. All three are parenting us, and we'll talk about that as we go forward. So I want to unpack this a little bit further. This amazing opportunity that God is offering us. This really, it's a deeply personal and intimate parent-child relationship, which is it's the actual foundation for all of reality, and it's the main drama that is unfolding in the universe. In a sense, I like to think of the stars and the vast cosmos. You look at it, it's mind-boggling, but it's the stage and the furniture on the stage, right? And it's stupendous. But the real drama is persons and relationships. That's what God created, made the creation to provide a stage for the unfolding of this cosmic drama that the gods have set in motion. So I want to look at this parent-child relationship under four headings, which are some of the other of God's exceedingly great and precious gifts. And that is the indwelling spirit, the love of God, the will of God, and eternal life. And I'm just going to say a little bit about it, and then we're going to watch a little video, and I'm going to invite Elizabeth to share some of her thoughts, because I know she's got so much stuff probably bubbling in response to all this. So first off, the gift of the parent-child relationship is incredibly intimate. And this is a big problem in our world. You know, people think of God as far away and really theoretical. It's just an idea. And the actuality is that God is in the deepest place inside of us. In fact, they call this indwelling spirit of God the nucleus of human personality, which is fascinating, right? What it implies. It's the center around which all the rest of us circles, in a sense, our minds, our hearts, our souls. And we're going to be talking about this again, delving deeply into the nature of the indwelling spirit in weeks ahead. So the big problem for struggling human beings in today's pretty chaotic world is that most people function as if they are utterly alone, right? They think they're isolated, they're lonely, they're adrift, and they feel unrecognized and they feel unloved. And so it's a priority, right? We need to share with them this astonishing reality that the creator of heaven and earth is waiting inside of each of us, intimately available, wants to be our constant companion, our devoted parent, nurturing our souls, raising us up in every single moment of our lives. This is not far away and theoretical. It's the stuff of every moment, right? It's here, it's inside of us. And it's the most fundamental reality in the cosmos. And most people are oblivious to it. So we need to both plummet ourselves and share the availability of it with people as much as possible. So secondly, looking at the parent-child relationship, this intimate inner parental presence is enveloping us with the most profound love, right? And we will talk more about this in upcoming homecomings. We have to learn to enter very regularly, daily at least, into a state of worship, into this inner embrace that God is making available to us, the embrace of love of our source and our destiny, our creator parent. We have to have the experience of soaking up that love that God is trying to give us. And we're going to do that for about 10 minutes at the end of the hour today, is to rest in worship, to rest in God with love for about 10 minutes. It's I've come to think of it as like spiritual food, right nourishment. If I eat a meal once a week, I don't do very well. I'm malnourished. I'm faltering. And so for me, God's parental love is a kind of basic nourishment or nurture that we need to take in at least daily, and ideally more often, ideally unbroken, 24/7. We need to be in this in some fashion in communion and being nourished by that love. So thirdly, uh, in looking at this parent-child relationship is the concept of the will of God. Um, the idea that this intimately loving parent inside of us is providing also for us an incredibly reassuring sense of order and structure and direction. Life is coherent. In the midst of what seems like so much chaos in the world, life is coherent. The life that God has created for us here and into eternity. There's a rightness to things. Our reality is stable, it is progressive. And this parent-child relationship that we have with God is going somewhere. We have destiny. It's going somewhere amazing, right? Um, God, in a sense, wants to help us grow up, to mature spiritually, and to become more and more like him/her. You know, you go back to what we shared at first, what Jesus said. He said, we can become partakers of the divine nature. We can become godlike. We can grow up and you know, our sense of wannabe, right? We want to be like God, like our spiritual parent. That's meant to be fulfilled in eternity. And speaking of which, I mean, the last thing I want to say here about this parent-child relationship is that it is eternal. Um, if we want this intimate relationship, it's being offered to us forever. Never will we stop growing. Never will God's love for us end. It's an eternal gift. And we will be looking out ahead at the adventure of the Supreme, of together as sisters and brothers, working with God to bring about the realization of the cosmic spiritual family, right? So we're involved in something very big, and this is early days. It's still early days in the realization of spiritual family. The adventure really begins now for every one of us if we claim it. And really, the entrance fee, as Jesus said, is simple childlike faith. Faith in this relationship, in this amazing creator parent, and what God has given us, which is our very selves, and absolutely everything that we need to reach the divine destiny that God has set out for us. So that's why I think of it as a great foundational gift that God has given us, the parent-child relationship. So, Elizabeth, you may want to share any thoughts you've got now, and then we're going to watch a video. And I appreciate your patience. Sorry, I usually have a little too much to share, and so pardon my taking the time. Please go ahead. I'd love to hear your thoughts in response.
Well, I'm thinking that our joy and our purpose in life, I probably speak for everybody here, is to share this knowledge of the seven spiritual truths with other people. They can fit into any religious culture, you know, any system of belief. And what I was noticing is that we can enter into this unfolding relationship with God from any one of those seven spiritual truths.
Yeah.
They're all interconnected, they're dynamically interactive. Today, though, we're focusing on love. And I know that not everyone has had a loving family of origin, but we've all had someone whom we really loved, maybe more than one, and someone who really loved us in life and really believed in us. And I think we can take that experience of love, however we've experienced with whomever we've experienced it, It might even be a dog, but we can build on that experience. We can amplify it. And maybe we didn't feel this love from our parents, but we have experienced it in our life. The other thing is that, in my experience, the more we love, the more we expand in love. The more we can love God and we can love other people. Our biggest job, I think, our task in life is to truly love one another. And the Ranch book does suggest that it's a good practice to try to love one more person each day. Just yesterday, we had a leak detection expert here. It was a young man, delightful young man. And after he did his work, we chatted for a while. And he told me how he was looking forward, with all the rain coming, to going home that night to his apartment building, where he was going to make some special Mexican dish and invite lots of people from his apartment building for a community supper. And I'm telling you, as he spoke about this, he was so filled. The light was just coming out of his face. He was joyous. He was cheerful. He was just full of love and anticipation. And I thought we can build this spiritual family anywhere we are. And just start right in your own neighborhood or with your next door neighbors or your block or your apartment building, and get together. Let's just get together and love one another. Kind of simple message, but the more we practice it, the more we know God. It's the best way to know God is through the pathway of love. So let's move on then. Let's watch Gary's beautiful video and then have great breakout groups and get to know one another in these breakout groups. You'll be with, a couple other people, and it's a chance to really inquire of each other. Who are you? What's important to you? What's going on with you? What are you thinking right now? I want to get to know you. And honestly, I don't think there's ever been anybody whom I didn't love more as a result of getting to know them better and understanding their life situation. Okay, so ready to share?
Yeah, this is a great video that Gary Tong and his very talented friends have put together. It's about 3 minutes, so I think you'll enjoy it.
What if the true meaning of family extends far beyond human expectations? For a moment, imagine.
Your planet is a member of an enormous cosmos. You belong to a well-nigh infinite family of worlds. We are all a part of the family of God. The family of God is derived from the love of God. God is love. God, the Father, divinely loves His children, all of them.
Every one of us belongs to a loving universal family. You may feel confused and alone in the universe.
But your world is just as precisely administered and just as lovingly fostered as if it were the only inhabited world in all existence.
Our realization of this cosmic family begins with earthly families and associations.
Almost everything of lasting value in civilization has its roots in the family.
The future progress of this very world is being defined by these evolving and loving associations.
Only families are continuing agencies in social evolution. The family is the channel through which the river of culture and knowledge flows from one generation to another. The family is the fundamental unit of fraternity, in which parents and children learn those lessons of patience, altruism, tolerance, and forbearance.
What a great privilege and sublime responsibility it is to nurture children.
The child must derive his first impressions of the universe from the mother's care. He is wholly dependent on the earthly father for his first ideas of the heavenly Father. Men and women are partners with God in that they cooperate to create beings who grow up to possess themselves of the potential of immortal souls.
When all is said and done,
God is the universal Father. The Son is the universal Mother. And all of us, high and low, constitute their universal family.
So thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you for that gorgeous video, Gary Tong and his very talented friends sharing these truths in such an inspiring way. Before we move into our breakouts, which we're going to do momentarily, I want to give just a little sort of a glimpse, a teaser of our theme for next Sunday's homecoming. And for me, it springs from this video. This video shows the gorgeous ideal, the perfect way that families ought to be. But as Elizabeth alluded to, this is not the reality of many, many people who grew up in families with parents that were far from adequate, right? And so for many people, the experience of spiritual family has associations of a lot of pain and difficulty and struggle and isolation still because they feel alienated because of the difficult early experiences they had in families of origin. Yeah, that's because parents often themselves, unfortunately, were damaged human beings, unable to love us and guide us effectively. So the question is, and this is what we're going to look at front and center next week, is if that has been our experience, how can we effectively come into the family of God? How can we first heal, be healed, and made whole, right? So next Sunday, we will look at what I've come to understand as the best label for me is spiritual reparenting. It's an experience that God is offering us at the beginning of our family experience, reconstituting what this experience should be. And I think it actually it's capable of making up for those deficits. And then once we've been healed and made whole initially, I think then we can be ready to begin the eternal journey in a fully developed, more whole sense of this journey of ongoing parent-child relationship in the cosmos. So yeah, please come next week. We'll have a lot of fun with this and then lay the stage for further sharing and development of these ideas. So we're going to move into breakout groups now. And then after that, we'll come back and have about 7-8 minutes of worship. And I'll sort of set the stage for that. So 3-4 people in a group, enjoy yourselves. Talk about all the stuff we've talked about, which is quite a bit. And please join us back at the end of the breakout sessions. So welcome back to everybody. We're gonna, without much further ado, we're gonna move into we've sort of shared a lot of thoughts. You all have had a chance to talk and share in the breakout groups and get to know each other a little bit. But on this theme of the foundational gift of the spiritual parent-child relationship and the launching of the enterprise of spiritual family cosmically. So we're going to take some time now in worship. We're going to take probably about 8 minutes, I think. We'll do about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this sweet little app, and we're going to do a little worship time. I think we've gone over with edits and other stuff. So I think we're going to take a little bit shorter time. We're going to take about 5-6 minutes, which I think will be not fully adequate, but pretty adequate. and then I'll sort of prompt us on how we get into our large group conversation. So what I would say is sit back, relax, and let God help us integrate all of what we've experienced here in the last hour, um, which is a lot. Well, welcome back from our wonderful time with our loving universal Father, our eternal Mother, Son, and our infinite Spirit. And of course, Jesus, our wonderful eldest brother and universe Father, and our friend, and our sustaining Mother Spirit, and our wonderful Mother Supreme, who is the embodiment, the full expression eventually of our emerging spiritual family. We'll be talking more about that upcoming. So welcome back. Let me share a few thoughts just at the close here of the formal gathering. The first, as I mentioned last week, this is being recorded. We are going to do an edit. We'll have all the glitches removed. And we're going to put the links to each of the videos, last week's, this week's, and going forward, up on the homecoming webpage at uranchiuniversity.org. And we'll have a cumulative listing there. And we're going to work in the next few weeks to get a YouTube channel established associated with Uranchi University's YouTube channel for homecoming. So there'll be a cumulative list of all of the recordings of the sessions we're doing. So please, if you missed it or you want to see it again, you can look at it in those two places on the website and then eventually on YouTube. Secondly, this coming Tuesday and Thursday, we have the Family Way Forum. It's going to be every Tuesday, every Thursday at the same time, 10 a.m., and using the same link as homecoming. So you can just, click on that link in any of the emailings you've gotten. And the purpose there is to provide a supportive space, a conversational space for folks who feel some sense of leading to grow themselves as teachers and leaders and ministers, evangelists, whatever flavor of outreach we feel called to address, both with the symbolism of a way of life and spiritual family, and also with any version of the core spiritual teachings of the Revelation. And it'll be interactive, it'll be spontaneous. I'll be facilitating that conversation every Tuesday and Thursday morning going forward. If you want to receive in your inbox a fresh link the morning of any of these events, please go to the homepage for Uranchi University, uranchiuniversity.org, and go to the bottom of that homepage. You'll see a link for signing up for these email notices, which makes it really easy. It's right there, fresh and at the top of the inbox. The last thing I want to say, I want to elaborate a little bit. The idea is to grow our audience. This week we had a little mix up with dates, and so we actually have fewer people than last time, but I think that's temporary. The idea here is to, and I want to say thank you to any of you who've brought friends to this gathering. Please do the same. Keep doing this going forward. The sense here, the way we share this information is meant for a much larger audience than folks, not limited to folks who read the Urantia book. It's meant for an audience of spiritual seekers in a broad sense. So we want to proliferate it. We want to invite as many people as possible to come to these gatherings so they have the live experience. I hope you've enjoyed it. And we're going to be talking about this in weeks upcoming. Once we have the YouTube channel established, we really want you to start sending these links and sending the YouTube channel link out to folks you think might be interested. We want to grow a larger than Urantia book reader audience, ideally. So it's a hybrid gathering of spiritual family. Okay, so I think at this point, Elizabeth, let's stop spotlight, so we can all see each other a little more easily. Welcome to everybody. And I'm going to open it up. It's about 10 after, and as I said, take a break as you feel need to individually. I'm going to open it up, and I want to invite a couple of people, and I hope I'm not catching you by surprise. So I'm going to give you a little notice, Kat. I'm going to mention you, if you don't mind sharing your thoughts, because you're kind of interesting in the sense that Sherry invited you, You weren't familiar with this ahead of time and you came. So I'd love to hear, and from any of you, what the experience has been like, the teaching that we had earlier, Elizabeth and I, the conversations and breakouts, the worship, just all of it. Um, any responses you'd like to share, we'd love to have. And then maybe if you don't mind, I'll move to Kurt and Mike Painter. I'd like to get your thoughts in that sequence, and then any others who want to share. Uh, yeah, Kat, please. Are you okay sharing your thoughts a little?
Yes, on the breakout group, Dale Ann and Stevie and I um, were getting to know each other, and they're both beautiful souls. And I was feeling like not really sure that I understood when you were saying about God as a being. But they helped clear that up for me, and I just want to continue to learn and grow. And this is a fabulous platform to do that. So I'm very grateful to Sherry for that, for inviting me and sending me the link. And I understand that there will be a big meeting in Baltimore at the end of March that really piques my interest. So I might be able to even attend that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. A couple of things. First of all, I certainly don't understand the I am. It's a state of mystery. But I mean, for me, the key thing is that out of that soup of pre-being, in a sense, which we can't understand, what emerged was the first thing that happened was this spiritual parent-child relationship, which we all can understand and experience. And that's the powerful implication out of that. So, but I'm with you on not understanding. And as regards the chance to gather live in Baltimore, and Mike Painter may want to say a little something about this, the chance to gather live in Kansas City at Unity Village for the fellowships gathering. We're rich. We have two large gatherings this year, one in March and one in July of readers. So we'll have a lot of sharing, and Elizabeth and I'm going to be doing a plenary in Baltimore, and then Elizabeth and I are both doing plenaries in Kansas City. So I hope as many of you as are able can come. We're going to have just a blast, I think, at both gatherings. And I'm looking forward to meeting you personally, Kat, and giving you a hug and just chatting about stuff. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
Uh,
That sounds wonderful.
yeah, yeah. So I think, Kurt, anything you want to share? Because I know you've been immersed in this stuff for quite a while, and doing your own wonderful ministry as well. Anything you want to share about the rope or the experience here?
Well, I think
Homecoming?
that, yeah, for me, when I come to these, it's not so much the study part of the or opening parts that mean much to me. To me, more of what I'm here for is for the worship time, which I also had this morning in the cafe. There's the Sunday cafes, and I always
Yeah,
go there.
yeah,
I also find that the sharing time, the time in the small group breakouts, is the most valuable. That, to connect again with Heather, who I haven't seen since I left Florida, and with Jimmer, who I haven't seen since a conference in Amsterdam a few years ago, was wonderful, and have a conversations about what really connects us to God. These are the things that I find the most valuable in the meeting. So, and this sharing now, and those tend to be the groups that I tend to want to join. And I've got several of them a week, thankfully, and yours is another. So thank you.
oh, great. Thank you, Kurt. Uh, I agree with you. And we've heard this last week that the breakouts was extremely valuable for people, and this interaction. I agree, because that's where the living relationships are happening, right? So, point well taken. Thank you. Mike, and then I'm going to invite Cherie to say anything she wants to say, and I'll give a little intro at that point. Go ahead, Mike. anything you want to share?
Yeah, so it was really interesting in the breakout. So the idea of the complexity of the book came up, and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe the revelators saw another big purpose of this great revelation that we have. Because if we could all read it and fully understand it on our own, then we wouldn't be here, maybe. So the complexity of us is another incentive for us to get together and really what they're trying to teach us, which is this love for each other. I mean, these opportunities are what is, to me, it's really all about. So the meeting of the people, the opportunities to share with each other, to get to know each other. I mean, if we're trying to teach love, I don't know a better way to do that than to share time together.
I just want to say thank you all for showing up. We all have lives to get on to. Come next week, we'll be talking about spiritual reparenting and much else. So love you. God loves you, and stay spirit connected all the time. And until the next time we meet, God bless.
Yeah.